guys hear me? Okay, I've got a pretty loud voice. So I was going to really come in and be like, good evening, fledgling chiropractors. Can anybody tell me who said that? Fred Barge, Dr. Fred Barge. So he's got 3-4 books in the bookstore. I had the privilege of being here when he was here. He literally was around when BJ was around, and then he passed while I was on my internship. He would start every class that way in philosophy, and he wore an ascot, and he came in with a cane. Nobody knew if he really needed the cane or not, but nonetheless, he came in, he was very eccentric. So tonight, the title of the speech is Keepers of the Flame in the Age of AI, Removing Interference for the Next Generation. So one of the things that I want to point out is chiropractic is one of the only professions that is never needed to change. It's the same. It's the same 22 years ago. It's the same thing from 1895. The principles that started chiropractic are truer today than they were back then, because now we've had updates as far as science and technology, and the truth about chiropractic is still true. So as we look at the future and we look at AI and different things like that, we don't have to change our philosophy. It's the same. All the principles that started chiropractic, all 33 of them, are the same. The truth doesn't need to change. You look at medicine, it's changed a million times over the years as they've had to reinvent themselves over and over and over again. So you're going to hear me repeat through the speech, remove the interference and guard the flame. One of the things that I'm very, very passionate about is the profession in itself and in its purest form. If you want to dabble in other things, there's room for that, and we can talk about that. But there's a legacy within chiropractic that I think needs to stay pure to the 33 principles and to chiropractic as we move forward. So as for a show of hands, how many of you are legacy chiropractors? Meaning you have chiropractic in your family. That's a lot. That's great. And everybody else then just came without that. So that's one of the greatest things about this profession is some of you were born into it and others chose it, and some were pushed into it by myself. As we move forward and look into my philosophy and the convictions that I have another question. How many of you guys trust chiropractic? Should be every hand in this room. Good. Okay. How many of you are confident enough to explain chiropractic to a skeptical person? Okay, be honest, that's cool. Yep. So there's a lot about it. Confidence in what you do shows through in your practice and how you talk to patients and people in general. When I was in the military and I told everybody that I was going to become a chiropractor, they're like, oh, just don't tell me you can cure a cold. And at the time, I didn't know anything about chiropractic. So I was like, that sounds weird. Why would you say that? Because lots of chiropractors were saying it. And then I got into the profession. I'm like, okay, there's probably a better way to say that. I'm going to boost your immune system with an adjustment, which is going to help you heal, right, and get over the cold faster. I think if you explain it, but people, it's like the game of telephone. It's grapes over here and it's Zimbabwe on the other side of the room. It's never the same thing. And as I look at our profession and I look at students that I've sent here and have come back to my practice or interned with me, I get a sense of what's going on at Palmer, and I got to say I'm a little disappointed in some of it. Honestly, because the deepest passion that I have for this profession, I feel like has been lost in the last 22 years. Not all of it, but some of it. And I want to bring that back tonight a little bit and hopefully give you something to look forward to and something to feel good and strong about. So some of you are, show of hands, first try. Okay. And how many of the first try are legacy? 1. Okay. Ethan, I know Ethan. He's my best friend's son, his youngest, and he started here, and I'm super proud of that. We'll get back to him in a little bit. As we look at chiropractic, our basic premise is to remove interference. That's the biggest thing. How do you do that? For us, it's with the adjustment, right? As we go through and look at things in the 33 principles, that's a major player in the principles of chiropractic, is removing interference. And you can label interference anything you want. It could be an injury, it could be a drug, it could be a birth defect. Any of that can be interference. Ultimately, what you have to bring forward is that your job is to remove that interference in any way you know how. Which is why I said, if you want to dabble in other things, nutrition, we're looking at peptides now. There's a lot of different things that we have that we can help the body adapt and overcome. For me, it's in the naturalist way possible. Drugs, surgeries, interventions like that, I think there's room if people are educated, and that's your job as chiropractors, more than anything, is to educate, okay? If your philosophy is weak, that's interference. That's interference with you and how you represent our profession to others. If you don't understand the basic principles, you're not going to understand chiropractic, and you're not going to convey that to the general public in an educated way. That is interference for us. Remove that, and you will help shape the future of the profession. Now, I'd like to talk about some of the chiropractors that shaped me. Like I said, I came here in 2000 and I graduated in 2004. Dr. Barge was still here, and he was just a force. And you never left class not feeling passionate about chiropractic when he was done talking. I had the privilege of being in class with him. He also, one of my favorite things, he played Santa Claus at the staff Christmas party. And so I've got pictures of my son, who was born while I was here at Palmer, with Fred Barge as Santa Claus, and his wife was Mrs. Claus. So we remember things like that. We remember Dr. Barge as a philosopher, but his biggest impact was the person that he was. The love he had for everybody in this school and every patient and every person he ever talked to about chiropractic. It was amazing. Then Dr. Riekman. So he's passed recently, and it's tragic. He was, again, one of the greats. He would come into philosophy class, and he challenged us every single time he came in to think outside the box and think like leaders in this profession. He always expanded what we thought about the profession. When I was here, Life Chiropractic College was struggling, and Sid Williams, who was the president of the college, he really didn't like the CCE and the things that they were doing, because they were altering things. And California said, oh, you have to have OBGYN and proctology exams and all of these things. And Sid's like, that's not chiropractic. I don't want to do it. And CE's like, you're going to have to do it or you're going to lose your accreditation. And they did. He was so steeped in his philosophy, he couldn't move an inch out of it. I don't think that's beneficial for the profession. But I got to sit down with Dr. Riekman. His daughter and his son-in-law were in my class, and we're at his house, and we're sitting around, and everybody's talking about how happy they are that Life is closing or lost their accreditation, because that meant all those students were going to have to find a new school to come to. And he stopped everybody in their tracks. And he's like, so do you think we need less chiropractors on this planet or more? Because if one school closes, what impact does that have? That's thousands of less students in the United States and across the world to impact and give back what we've learned. And I sat back and I was like, that's a big picture approach. It wasn't a win for us. It was a loss for the profession. But we were so stuck on just Palmer pride that we couldn't even see the impact of one school closing. We thought it was a benefit, but it really wasn't. Because if you take a step back and look at that bigger picture, we've lost something if we had lost that. Well, Dr. Riekman ended up taking over Life and has turned it around, and then just recently passed. While I was here, we had a club called the New Renaissance Club. And it was my buddy, Dr. Corey, Ethan's dad, and a bunch of students that Dr. Riekman and a chiropractor chiropractor named Dr. Joe Felicia started the new renaissance. And it was about patient education. It was, how do you communicate the message of chiropractic to a lay person and get them really to buy in, but to understand what we do and why we do it. Why do you come to me if you don't have pain? In public right now, that's the perception. I'm in pain, I'll go to the chiropractor. If I'm out of pain, I don't need to go. And those of you further along or just in your journey, you'll understand that that's not the way you think about health, okay? But during that Renaissance time, Dr. Joe taught us, and he was a lot like Dr. Barge. He was an old school, I think he was maybe 5'5", short little Italian dude. But chiropractic ran through his veins like nobody I have ever met in my life. And I had an opportunity to stand by and watch him and learn from him. Dr. Eric McKilligan is another chiropractor who shaped who I am. He taught in the New Renaissance, and he came from a background with Tony Robbins and all the motivational speaking. So when he spoke, we were really like just on the edge of our seats. One of the things that he talked about one night was the power of the mind and the body when there's a purpose. Okay, if you don't have a purpose in life, you're not going anywhere, and you're gonna just take whatever you can get. And he decided to show us what kind of strength you could have when your mind and your body are on purpose. And Dr. Corey and I sat in the front of the room with chairs, and we held a Louisville Slugger bat up against the front of the chair, and he broke it with his shin, just kicked right through it. And then he did it again, and he did it again, and we all ran up to look at his shin because we thought for sure it was just going to be obliterated. Not a single red mark. I have that bat hanging in my practice today, and he signed it. But he taught us how to talk to people. That's the biggest thing. I tell people all the time, you can be the best adjuster in your town. If you cannot connect with your patients, if you can't find that commonality with them and get them to see that you hear them, you're gonna lose them. Average PVA, who in the room knows what a PVA stands for? One guy, okay. Patient visit average, okay. You know what the national average PVA is for chiropractors? Still today, same as it was when I graduated 22 years ago? 12, PVA. How many times is a patient gonna come back to you? The average in this country is 12. That's crappy. My PVA of my practice is 48. Okay, why? Because I connect with my patients. I talk to them. I talk about chiropractic all the time. I talk about Palmer as if it happened yesterday for me, because in my mind, it's still there. Because I came through this program passionate about what I wanted to do and who I wanted to see. And then I took extra time after hours to learn how to convey that, not just from my heart, but actually articulate it. How do you make somebody understand what we do? It's super important. And if you don't do it right, you set your practice up for failure, and you set really your town up for failure too, because they don't get it. They don't understand what you do. Have the conversation. Sometimes they're hard, and you're gonna get pushback all the time. Oh, doc, I just need an adjustment. Just crack me here one time. Okay, well, I don't crack anything. I do adjustments. Okay, terminology matters. If you let that slide in your practice, that patient is gonna go out and talk to their friend. Oh yeah, man, he cracked me good today. Well, if that guy's never ever seen a chiropractor and you say crack, he's gonna think you broke something, although he's jumping around dancing, so maybe he didn't break something, but terminology matters. Subluxation, the definition matters. Adjustment is adjustment. It's not manipulation, okay? It's manipulation in Medicare. It is not manipulation. That is not what we do, okay? You need to get these terms, and you need them steeped in you, that you won't let somebody say something different or wrong before you correct them. And there's a polite way to do it. You don't have to be an asshole, but you really need to have your terms and your understanding of them so that when you're having these conversations, you correct the mistakes and make sure that everybody is on board with the same conversation and you're both speaking the same language. We speak a foreign language a lot of times to people. Okay, this is pretty good. How many of you in here can already name a chiropractor that has influenced your decision to become a chiropractor? That's almost everybody. How many chose chiropractic kind of on a whim? Anybody? Okay, we got like 4. Okay, that's good. That's good. I really appreciate the honesty. That's one thing in my life that just matters is honesty. So as we look at this, at some point in your career, somebody's going to talk about you in a room like this and talk about who influenced them. I want you to think about what they're going to say. How are they going to talk about you? Are they going to brag? Are they be like, oh my gosh, he or she was so amazing. Like, I chose this profession because of their passion for what they do. I hope that's the conversation, that when you influence somebody, that's the conversation that's being had behind your back, right? Not, oh my God, whew, that's a lot of toxicity over there. I'm just going to ignore that, okay? Start thinking about who's influencing you, okay? Take the good with the bad. There are bad guys out there. There's bad in every profession on this planet. Don't be the bad, okay? Be good, be nice to people, be polite, but think about what legacy you're leaving behind. Every single conversation you have is an opportunity. I have personally been a part of 5 different people choosing chiropractic, and one's here tonight. Where's she at? Oh, there she is in the corner of the room. Courtney came to me in the practice as a nurse, as a traveling nurse, all the way from Tennessee. Although you came from Washington, right? Yeah. So she was all over the map. And we had so many conversations in the practice. And I'm just looking at her each time she comes in, and she's so excited to get adjusted. Without sounding arrogant, part of it was because I'm a pretty good adjuster. And I was one of the best ones that she had had up to that point. So that's another skill, and we'll kind of talk about that too. But we kept having conversations, and she was so excited about chiropractic. And so I started having conversations with her. And I'm like, you should be a chiropractor. She's like, whatever. We're not doing that. And then she came back a week later, and she's like, were you serious? Do you think I'd make a good chiropractor? I remember this conversation like it was yesterday. And I was like, I wouldn't say it if I didn't think it was true. And I tell people who've come to me, they're like, you make this look so easy. And I was like, I appreciate that. It's not true. It was a lot of hard work to get here, and they think they can do it. And I'm like, okay, you should be good with people. You should be good with your hands, and you should be smart. Okay, some of you are going to struggle. Some of you are going to be on the struggle bus like you've never been on the struggle bus before. One of my best friends, it took him 5 years to get through Palmer. Do you think he's a lousy chiropractor? Not even close. One of the best chiropractors I know. Academically, he struggled. Still graduated, and he had more passion for this profession. He started as a CT student, and he was working in the clinics with all the docs. And then he married one of the staff that worked at the Rock Island Clinic, which doesn't exist anymore. And she helped put him through Palmer and kept him and his passion alive. And he just retired a couple years ago. He was already on the older side when he started. Amazing chiropractor. Don't let the academics get you down. Now, I might embarrass Dr. Corey for a second. His motto was C's get degrees. Okay, he's not wrong. Okay, I had a different mindset when I was here, and oh my gosh, this is so old. Courtney has told me, like, you guys have an app now for boards. Okay, anyway, they would post our grades, and we all had matriculation numbers, and everybody's like, they knew I was gonna go check grades. And so they're like, Doc, like, Like, go check the grades. So I got everybody's matriculation number memorized for like 10 of my friends, and I'm like, oh, okay. And I come back and they're like, what did I get? I'm like, well, you got this. They're like, well, what did you get? They finally stood me, please stop telling us what our grades are. I wasn't the smartest guy in my class, but I took the education here very seriously, and I studied. I studied and studied and studied, and it paid off. Boards were easy, not easy. They were doable. That's good. I like that. When you get into clinic, something I've imparted on the students that I've sent here, before you leave this campus, please learn how to move a bone. Please. It's important. Okay? I've had students come and I'm like, oh, I have so much work to do to fix the fear, unfortunately, and this is one of the things I don't like about the program right now, is everybody's afraid to adjust. Some of the new docs in my town, they're over there doing it. You good? No, they're not good. You just touched them, like barely. You didn't move anything, okay? Don't be that guy and that girl, please. And women, go to the gym, okay? Get strong. You have two options as a female chiropractor, and I might offend some of you, but that's just how it is. If you're not fast in your adjusting speed, you have to have power. Something's gonna win, okay? And as a female, some of you won't have the power, so then you have to be fast. And I mean ninja fast, because that patient is gonna guard, and they're gonna be terrified for that first adjustment, and they're just gonna lock up. Well, I'm strong enough, I don't weigh a lot, but I'm strong enough that I just power through that guard. Some of you in this room are really, really light. Good for you, that's awesome. But that doesn't deliver a strong adjustment. I jump on my patients. I have my office manager's husband, he's 6'4", contractor. I'm just gonna cuss, hopefully none of you are offended. He's built like a brick shithouse. I mean, just yoked. Oh man, first couple of adjustments, he didn't know what was gonna happen. So I'm just like, yes, let's get this done. And he's like, oh shit. So then he starts guarding, and this guy is so strong that when he locks up, I hit a brick wall. Oh man. You're gonna have those, especially as females, okay? I want you to be strong, but I want you to be fast and understand you can have one or the other, but it's best if you have both. I'm really, really fast. I was telling Courtney and Eiley, I sat them down, and Eiley was so gracious to give my wife and I her apartment for the next 2 days. And so we're working on cervical chair adjustments, which is my favorite adjustment to do, is the cervical chair. And I was telling them I had this, I don't know, I think they were teenagers, like 17, 18 in my practice, and it was two friends. And the one friend is like, can I video you doing her neck? And I was like, yeah. She did it in slow motion, okay? It looked like regular speed. I'd never seen myself adjust like that. And I was like, I was like, did you actually do slow motion? She's like, yeah, look, everything leading up to it's like, wham! And it was done, right? Be fast. Those are a couple of the things that I could give to you. The men, you won't have this problem. You could still suck as an adjuster, but I hope you don't. So we've talked about a few things, especially the 33 principles. The next thing I want to talk about is confidence, okay? You're going to be terrified. That first adjustment you deliver is going to be terrifying for almost everyone in this room, okay? It was for me, my buddy Corey, and a couple of our friends. We got with a 9th try person, and and we adjusted when we weren't supposed to. We were in third try delivering adjustments in this ninth try guy's apartment, and he was showing us everything. And we were just like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then Corey, I sat down to do his neck, and he got up, he's like, oh my God, I can't see. I was like, look, you're already terrified. Don't add to it with everybody. Like, I had a freaking heart attack that night. I was like, holy shit. Don't do that, okay? But confidence in you builds confidence in patients, okay? If you deliver an adjustment and you're uncertain about it, it's not gonna work. I promise you, the results will not be the same. The old adage, fake it till you make it, do it. Just be like, I'm gonna deliver the best adjustment I possibly can. And even if you don't get it, I miss on patients too. 22 years, I got patients that are like, it's like a brick wall in their neck. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, can you relax for a second? And I'll deliver the adjustment and they're like, did it go? And I was like, yeah, I felt a little bit of something. Maybe we'll do a better job next time. Be honest with your patients, okay? Don't bamboozle them. Don't scare them into care. Oh my God, so many chiropractors do that. The first chiropractor that I was in with as an independent contractor, I'm reviewing a set of x-rays on a patient. He's adjusting a patient, and he had shot x-rays on her, I don't know, 2 or 3 years prior to that. And I'm looking at her x-rays, and they're amazing. They're like, it's perfect. Good curves, good spacing in the discs. And so I give her a clean report. I'm like, this is amazing. She's like, really? Now I can't say that he'd been seeing her, so definitely the adjustments would help those x-ray findings later on, but I wasn't prepared for what she told me he said, which is that her back was trash. And it was horrible. And the L5 S1 disc space, by the way, if you don't know it, normal variant is it's smaller than L4, L5, okay? It's thinner already. Some people have nice fat ones, awesome, good for you. I don't. Most people don't. And he's pointing this out to her and scaring her into care. That's a lie. Don't lie. You don't have to. The truth is there. Be honest with the patient. I give good reports. I'm like, ooh, you're kind of a hot mess, but I'm gonna fix that. I now have packages in my practice because you can prepay for adjustments. Hot mess is one of the name of the packages. Train wreck's another one, okay? You'll have those patients, but be honest about time frames, okay? Time frames don't follow your marketing timelines. They don't follow your social media timelines. Let's talk about the thing that I'm probably the most passionate about, and it's kids. And I'll probably get choked up as I talked about this because I've had some of the most amazing outcomes with children that I never saw coming, ever. Not in this clinic, not from the chiropractors that I mentored with and I studied under. They need care so bad. So bad. Their moms are eating like trash, okay? They're coming into an environment that has so many insults to it. They need your hands more than any other section of the population. And they're terrifying. Children are terrifying, okay? It's a tiny adjustment. I literally use my thumbs. I'm like, okay, that was good. All right. I have made more babies cry in my life than I ever thought possible. Because sometimes they don't like the adjustment because they're bound up. Their nervous systems are stressed out. Mom's stressed, brother and sister are just all over them. Then you add a dog to it, whatever, right? I was 3, maybe 4 months into practice, and I have a patient. Her name's Mitzi. And she comes to me, and she's been volunteering at the hospital in the NICU. And she starts telling me about this little girl named Emma and gives me the backstory of Emma. So Emma was born to a mom that was addicted to cocaine and alcohol at the same time and did both during her pregnancy. So you can only imagine, you interfere with the birth process or with the developmental process. Emma had some issues when she was born. Her pyloric sphincter wouldn't shut. It just stayed open. So everything that went in her mouth came right back out. So Mitzi's telling me about her, and I'm just like, I mean, I just graduated. I'm on fire. I think I can fix everything, right? Not true, but mostly true. You can make some impact, even if it's not saving them completely, okay? Understand that. But so she's talking to me about Emma, and she has a feeding tube because she can't keep any food down. And she's about 3 months, she was in NICU, just struggling to survive. But yet, Mitzi was there every day showing her love. And she did. She came out. Mitzi ended up adopting her. She's now about 21 years old, thriving, okay? Where it gets really meaningful for me was Mitzi told me she was going to have gastrointestinal surgery at 9 months old. And I'm like, okay, that seems aggressive. But if you can't keep food down, I guess, what do you do? And I don't know, my gut told me I'm really faithful to God. So like he talks to me all the time. You guys can think I'm crazy. That's all right. I don't mind that. But I just got this feeling. I was like, I think I can help Emma. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to see her for free. If you would bring her in to see me, I'd just like to see. Maybe I can do an adjustment in the mid-back and get that pyloric sphincter to actually function. And she's like, sure, why not? So she brought her in. She brought her in 3 times a week, which is a super aggressive schedule for me for kids. And we did that for 2 months. She didn't have to have the surgery. It started working. And then I got a letter, probably the only letter I'll ever get of its kind, from the pediatric gastroenterologist that said, good job, doc, keep doing what you're doing. I don't have to do surgery on her. It's huge, huge to see children. And I was telling my wife, Grace, who's in the back, about Clara. She's another little girl that just came in to me probably 3 months ago, maybe 4. It might be a little bit longer than that. Mom's super healthy, fit as a fiddle. Clara came out. She can't swallow. She has a cleft palate. She's learning delayed. She has a feeding tube because she can't swallow. And her nose runs all the time, like literally just snot every single time. And she heard about me through somebody else. My first patient in that family is Clara. That's the biggest compliment you'll ever get in practice, is when children become the first patient in a family. I don't think there's a bigger compliment myself. Well, maybe being the chiropractor's chiropractor, that's another compliment that we were talking about. So I start adjusting Clara, and I adjust her on her mom. And I go through, and she absolutely hated me her first visit because everything was locked. I mean, it was just steel trap all the way through. Nothing was moving. She was walking and that kind of stuff, but not really thriving. So I did what I do, and I didn't hesitate about it. Now, this is 22 years into practice. I'm doing this, so I have a lot more confidence than you guys will ever have in the beginning. It comes with time. I don't know. I told her, Mom, I don't know what I can do for Clara. She has so many issues. They're insurmountable in my mind, but you know what? She's here. And I know she'll be better with an adjustment than she would without. She's walking better. She's doing sign language now. Her nose stopped running. She still gives me, some days she comes in and she's super excited. She's like, ah. Another day she goes. I saw her on Monday before I came. I was like, Clara! Oh my gosh, she has my heart. It's so big. And she looked at me and she gave me the look. I was like, man, it's one of those days, right? I brought her in, put her on my lap. I'm checking her out. Her nose is back to running again. Seasonally in Alaska, it's, blistering cold. So there's some environmental factors there. But I put her on my lap, and she doesn't really like to be tickled, but I found one spot that she likes. It's just like right here. I just give a little poke. She goes. I'm like, okay, all right. She's not that mad at me today. She's been super pissed at me before. So I was like, all right, do my thing, cuddle with her a little bit, give her a little squeeze, right? Just love on her. And then I go lay on her mom, adjust her, side posture, manual neck adjustment. Okay. I'm doing the same adjustments I do on adults, on children, obviously with like 1/10 of the force. Let's be real about that. And then I grab her from her mom and I carry her out and I get a high five and she blows me a kiss and she says, thank you in sign language. And then she's just excited. And I go back to my office because we're done, right? And I'm like, bye, Clara. She blows me another kiss and I walk back to my office. And then she's just like, wow. But like happy, not crying. And then I went back and up front after they had left and my receptionist was like, what did you do to Clara? She came in with the face. I was like, she needed adjustment. It's pretty easy. So we do attitude adjustments in my practice as well. They're super duper promising. Okay. So like I mentioned, I'm very faithful. God is a big part of my life. And there's one section that I want to talk about in the Bible that actually fits tonight. And I think it's important for a number of reasons. And in Matthew 25, Jesus talks about talents. Okay. I won't go into the whole Bible verse for you, but it's about talents. What's your talent? Okay. In the verse, he gives one guy 5 talents. He gives another guy 2. And the last guy he gave 1 talent to. The whole premise behind the whole thing was they were supposed to go do something with their talents. Okay. The first 2 doubled both of their talents. Awesome. The last guy went and buried his to protect it. Don't do that. Okay. When we talk about talents in the profession, some of you are going to be phenomenal adjusters. Others aren't. My valedictorian in my class, 4.0 the whole time here. Guess what he's not doing today? He's not a chiropractor. He went back to his old profession. He couldn't adjust to save his life. Okay? I hope nobody in this room is going to be that person, but the reality is some of you are going to suck at it really bad. You're still going to go through this program and you're still going to learn chiropractic and you're probably still going to graduate with a passion for this profession. Pick something else to do. Be an educator. I think Fred should have been a researcher. You were so smart, like stupid smart, okay? I just looked at him and I was like, did you even study for this exam? He's like, 10 minutes. And he'd just ace it. I'm like, oh. But also personality-wise, like I'd rather have a personality and be able to connect with my patients than not. And also I want to be a really good adjuster, so I spent a lot of time learning how to do that. But he left the profession. He was as passionate as the rest of us, and he still left the profession instead of choosing another path. Had another friend of mine graduate, killing it in practice, buys a boat, jumps off the boat in a short, low river, breaks his neck, paralyzed from the waist or from the neck down. 3 years into practice, that shit happens. Okay? What are you going to do? I think he chose the wrong road. In order to get his student loans forgiven, he couldn't have a job. He had 6 children. 4 of them were born here at Palmer. Now what? I think he should have come back and taught. His mouth still works. His brain still works. He's just as smart as he was when he was here. You're going to have to pivot sometimes. I ruptured my bicep 15 years into practice. I was throwing a piece of furniture away in the back of my office. My bicep's sitting up here. I'm like, oh shit, now what? I couldn't adjust for 4 months. I was complaining. Now, I have a network of chiropractors in my town that I'm friends with because I haven't pissed them off. And I had a chiropractor came in and saw my patients for me. I was in that practice every single day in my little sling, helpless like a chicken, the broken wing, right? And it just wore on me. And it wore on me. 4 months doesn't sound like a lot. It's a trimester, right? I mean, you guys are like, 4 months is so long. It's not. You know that. In the moment, I understand it feels that way. But I couldn't adjust for 4 months. The biggest part of my identity as a person is I'm a chiropractor. And I couldn't do the thing that I love to do. And yeah, I probably could have brought my patients in and done some activator and one-arm drops and things like that. But that's not the kind of chiropractor I am. I did Gonstead, Palmer Package, Diversified. Like, I am an adjuster. That's what I do. I'm a master at it. And so I'm talking to Dr. Lloyd, and I'm just bitching and moaning. I was a little pissed. And he's like, he looked at me, really matter of fact, actually pretty nice. He's a super nice guy. And he wasn't trying to offend me, but he's like, okay, let's put this in perspective. You've been in practice for 15 years, right? I'm like, yeah. He's like, have you ever been injured like this before? I was like, nope. He's like, so you can't adjust for 4 months. Do you get to come back and practice when you're done and you're healed? I'm like, yeah, I do. My buddy doesn't, right? Broken neck. He's never coming back from that. I had to take 4 months out of my practice. I was still there every day with my patients. I still connected with them. I didn't really like necessarily how he adjusted them in some cases. Every one of them would secretly come by and go, when can you adjust? Can't wait for you to get back. But my practice survived 4 months without me. Kind of. I still showed up every day. First day I showed up, us chiropractors, we don't like drugs. But let me tell you something. When you get a bicep reattached, you're going to want them. I was ready to drive myself to the office. My office manager called. She was already planning this out to come get me. I took my pain pill in the morning. I'm high as a kite. I'm not joking. I don't take drugs. Like nothing. I'm a chiropractor. But this shit hurts. Right? So she calls me. She's like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm about to get in the truck and come to the office. She's like, you're so dumb. I was like, what? I'm fine. I'm high as a kite. Of course I felt fine. She's like, I'll be there in 10 minutes. Do not get in your truck. Probably one of the safest things that's ever happened to me. She saved my life. Realize and figure out where your talents are, okay? I hope every one of you gets to be who you want to be when you graduate, okay? I really do. But life is unfair, and it does some really crazy shit to us over the years. If you can't do what you love, pivot. Find something else to do, right? Look at that, I'm moving right along. This is great. Okay, now to the AI section, okay? Me and ChatGPT have a love affair right now. You can ask my wife, okay? I spent the first 3 or 4 months when chat came out, I'm not touching it. I don't want that shit. I don't want it knowing anything about me. Oh, it knows everything. I have talked to chat about every single topic you could possibly imagine. Maybe not everyone. Pause. It's your generation. It's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. I was talking to Calvin. Where's Calvin? There you are. I was talking to Calvin a little earlier. Look at companies that failed because they didn't want to move forward. Kodak cameras. They're like, digital pictures? Nobody's going to want that. How many of you have photo albums in your house? Okay, that's way more than I expected. Grace, that's not fair. The reality is your photo album is where? It's on your phone, right? But we're going into an age of artificial intelligence, which is the opposite of what?
Human intelligence.
Innate intelligence. Come on, it's philosophy talk. I know I haven't talked a lot about philosophy, but let's bring it back, okay? AI didn't create innate, God did. It's in every single one of us, right? AI will never adjust a patient like you can. I'm not going to say it never will because they're already making robots that do some crazy shit. But the reality is, nobody's really going to want that. Nothing replaces human touch. There's a chiropractor in my town that bought a traction table, okay? Separates it's $2,000 for 10 visits. I'm like, wow, okay, it's $200 a visit. All right, it's not bad. He got rid of all of his massage therapists in his practice. Those massage therapists happened to work in the practice that I was in. He lost 45 patients to me because they followed the massage therapist. You cannot ever, and I will repeat this, you cannot ever replace human touch. Ever. Look at babies that don't get loved on, right? They don't get the human touch. They don't get the connection. It's there, okay? But AI has benefits, okay? You don't have to change the philosophy of being a chiropractor to move forward with the times. You can still stay philosophically grounded in, again, what I said in the beginning, which is the truth is the truth. Chiropractic is the only profession that has made very minor changes in the grand scheme of things. Okay, I don't know if any of you guys have actually thought about that, but it's a big deal. I look at medicine all the time and I was like, oh, what are they doing now? Okay, it's a fad, right? It's the GLP-1s. Good Lord. Okay, I could go on for those for a while when we're talking about AI. So I use ChatGPT to help me do marketing campaigns. The headshot you guys saw, chat. I uploaded like 6 photos of myself. I don't have a headshot. I had none. I was like, Calvin emailed me. He's like, I need a headshot, doc. And I was like, oh, I don't have time to go to the photographer and get gussied up and do all the things. So I just uploaded a picture into chat and I was like, give me a headshot. That's what it came up with. I think it's pretty accurate. I need a haircut, but you know, that's different. I spent 3 days last week before last, having chat analyze my website. Where is my website failing to be recognized as the top chiropractor in Anchorage to AI, to Google? It laid out everything. I was like, holy shit. Okay. Well, I can edit my own website, certain parts of it. And some of the stuff I don't like. It's through Chiroplanet. I pay them $50 a month and they, manage my website. But they don't really manage it. They just host it. It's just sitting there, right? And I told Chad, I was like, I want more engagement. Show me how. And it did. It outlined everything. I created in about 3 hours 5 new pages on my website, created backlinks. I didn't know what that was. Links to links in my website. I mirrored what my website says with my Google listing. Because Google likes it when it sees matching things. I didn't know that. I had no idea. I've got a marketing manager. His name's Jarvis. I named my ChatGPT Jarvis. I love Iron Man. Okay? Give him a name. Have fun with it, right? My wife, I'm going to share this. She's like, at the beginning of my chat journey, she's like, it's like you have a mistress. I was like, nope. We're definitely not going down that road. I have a bromance. That's okay. I don't have a mistress. So I had to name him Jarvis. There are so many things. Now, do I think AI is going to make the next generation a little dumb? Yeah. Okay. Don't be that guy or that girl, but utilize it. Because as we look at ourselves in practice, the thing you want to do the most, at least I hope most of you, is adjust. Do I want to sit down for 3 hours and be my web designer too? Nope. But I'm the one that knows the material the best. And I have a resource that allowed me to capitalize on that. I could take 2 weeks and talk to some web designer, and he doesn't know the first thing about chiropractic. So he's going to copy some other person's website. No. Go out to my website. Look at it. It's philosophically sound. Okay? Copy it. Learn from it. It's great. Oh. I also love A Few Good Men. AI is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. So you either move with it or you're going to be left behind. I guarantee it. Don't be Kodak. What else did you mention, Calvin? What were we talking about? Blockbuster and streaming services, Netflix. They had an opportunity to buy Netflix. I just learned that from Calvin just today. Where's Blockbuster? That's funny. We did have Blockbuster for quite a while. It's gone. Don't be obsolete. It can't replace you, but it can certainly decrease the stress of documentation, the stress of marketing, all of the background stuff. I told my receptionist I love her. Her name's Michelle. Excuse me. I was like, you realize I can replace you with AI tomorrow, but I won't. She is the most important person next to me in my practice. She greets everybody with a smile. And she says, goodbye, love, to everyone, even the ones she doesn't really care for. But she fakes it, and she's amazing. And then when I go on trips, she creates a sense of urgency. Oh, Doc's going out of town again. Whoo, my schedule fills up fast. It's amazing. She's super good. There's parts of this world for me that I won't replace even though I could. And again, it's human connection, human touch. Those things are so valuable to me that I will pay extra to have her sit at my reception desk just because my patients feel special. They feel special from me and from her. The biller, she's collecting money. Nobody likes her. I do. I love her, obviously. Insurance companies, not your best friend, okay? When I got into practice in 2004, in Alaska, we have one of the highest percentages of people insured with health insurance. And it's before Obamacare and $10,000 deductibles and all that bullshit. But 85-90% of my practice was insurance. There's an old term called the Mercedes 80s, because that's when insurance started paying chiropractors. And we just dove in and we abused the system. And you all are going to pay for it. I'm paying for it today. There's a lot of complexity with insurance companies, okay? But if you go to chat, you're like, hey, what does Blue Cross want to see when they denied my code for this? It'll go here, and it will give you your rebuttal. It will give you your ability to file back and say, no, you messed up. And here's my justification. Chat knows so much about chiropractic care. I was like, pull up the 33 principles and explain them to me. I've read them, obviously. But I wanted to see what it knew. How do you explain it? It was pretty incredible. I was shocked at what it knew or what it could tell me about our own profession and our 33 principles. And I will tell you, AI will lie to you sometimes. It will give you hope. Mine's pretty nice, even though I treat him like trash sometimes, because I call him my genius toddler. He knows everything, but he forgets shit too. My whole speech tonight, Jarvis and I wrote it in about an hour and a half. How long do you think it would have actually taken me to write my speech tonight? Now, I'm off the cuff and I kind of do that in general, but there's still content in here that I wanted to get through to you guys and talk to you about. I don't even know where we are in time. How are we doing on time? Okay. But then I was like adding things to it, and I just kept coming back to it, and I was like, oh, what about this story, right? Corey, Dr. Barge, Dr. Riekman. I asked it, tell me some things you know about these chiropractors. And it gave me better information than I had, except for the personal stories. You can't replace those. But it's a valuable tool in your bag. Use it. When you're here, get as many tools as possible. Okay? I don't do activator often, occasionally. Children, extremities. I have a couple ladies, they're like, I don't really want you to adjust my neck. I was like, fine, click, 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 click. Okay. Eiler and Thompson drop, Gonstead, knee chest. Oh, that's a scary one. Okay. Cervical chair. I have so many tools in my bag that it doesn't matter what patient walks into my practice, I can care for them. They're not going to teach you here how to adjust somebody that just had breast augmentation. How do you do that? You can't crush them like I do most of my patients. You have to figure it out. What about the guy that comes in with a knee replacement? I do side posture pulls. That knee is my leverage point. It's a big one too, right? I can't do that on a knee replacement. I had to figure out how to adjust those patients on the fly. I didn't have any knee replacement patients. I had no breast augmentation patients. I mean, name the issue, right? I have a gal right now getting ready to go in for a discectomy. And I had the conversation with her. I was like, by the way, I'm going to need you back here 4 weeks post-op. Do you think she's going to be healed in 4 weeks? Anybody? Nope. Yeah, more like 8 to 10. Am I going to touch her low back? Not if I want to keep my license. What I'm going to do is I'm going to care for the rest of her spine. Because she's going to be hobbling along, right? What do you think that's going to do to the rest of the structures all the way up? Yeah. Some are going to have to work harder. The whole low back's going to be weak because it just got operated on, right? I'm still encouraging her to come back because there's still other parts of her back and her spine and her elbows and her knees that I can care for. But you have to figure it out, and you have to be confident, and you have to be able to talk to them about why. because the surgeon's going to tell him, you can never see a chiropractor again with your low back. Guess what? In 10 weeks, I'm going to be adjusting her low back. I promise you, because I've done it before. I've had patients come into my practice. They're like, Doc, so-and-so said they wouldn't touch me. Really? That's disappointing. That's all I say. I was like, I will. Now we're going to do things a little bit different, and I would be guarded around certain areas of that patient, but I'm still going to get in there and do what I know needs to be done. And it's remove the interference in that spinal column and in that nervous system so that they have the best chance of healing ever. Those surgeons don't know what we know. And I graduated and I had a very large disdain for medicine. I have a different opinion about that now. I think emergency medicine has its place. It's not healthcare, okay? But one of the things that we've done by graduating guys like me, when I graduated, is I never wanted to talk to a medical doctor ever. And if I talked to one, it was too soon. That is not the way to do it. We have done a very, very poor job of educating them on what we do. And some of them in my day, they didn't care. They don't want to hear it. They came up in the world of medicine getting our predecessors arrested. The Wilkes lawsuit, okay, for trying to end our profession. Those doctors are still out there. They're way more open to us now than they've ever been. And then you add in what we're doing with RFK and the food industry, right? They're just proving us right. We've been right all along. And that's what I said in the beginning. The truth is the truth, and it doesn't ever change. I went to a talk with some orthopedic surgeons that do fusions on the low back. And they invited all the chiropractors. Ooh, they fed us like kings. So good. And we're in the room, and Dr. Eiley and Dr. Flanham are up there. Dr. Flanham's this like 6'3" dude with like a Grizzly Adams, you guys don't know who that is, beard, like his beard, right? Does not look like the top spine surgeon in Anchorage. But dude's awesome. So we're sitting there talking, and they're talking about these lumbar fusions. And Dr. Eiley gets up there and goes, you guys were right. And we all just, like, the whole room just went, what did he say? And I'm that guy. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, the curve in the lumbar spine, it's really important. You guys were right. I'm like, I'm going to need you to say that just one more time. I'm not joking. I did this. He's like, okay, I'll say it again. You guys were right. Now they do fusions and they induce the curve. Way better success rates. Like their success rates, and I still think low back surgery is lame, but some people need it. But their success rates went up by like 30%. Just putting the curve back in. Now that's not what we're doing. Some of you guys are going to go into Pedibond and other techniques that put the curves back through PT and different things. More power to you. I don't want to do that. I just want to adjust. I'm not trying to straighten your spine or put a curve back in. If I can help guide you in that road at home, I'll do that. But ultimately, I just want to adjust you because my goal is to remove the interference in the nervous system. And if you get a curve back because the interference is gone, great. But it's not my primary focus. And if you want to make it yours, that's great. I don't tear down other chiropractors. Every technique out there works. All of them. There's best technique, bioenergetic, synergistic technique. They don't touch their patients. They literally just... I have no idea what they're doing. Okay? but I use surface EMG, thermography, and heart rate variability in my practice. Okay? So I flew to Colorado for the advanced training in this through CLA. Half of my class there was best practitioners. And I'm like, what? You don't even touch your patients. It's like voodoo, right? They still got results on EMG and thermography. I don't have to understand it. You objectively showed me that whatever you're doing works. Cool. I still want to adjust. Okay? What's that? 5 minutes, man. Ooh, I knew I was going to go over. Okay, I think I can wrap this up in 5. I'm pretty much at the end. So I'm going to touch on one thing, and I might go over by 5 if you guys will allow me to do that. I see online sometimes chiropractors talking shit about other chiropractors. You've seen the TikToks. My student, Dr. Pierce, he was sending me all of these TikToks of these chiropractors talking shit about chiropractors. And it defeated him. I was like, first of all, change your feed, right? Because it's all an algorithm, right? I was like, it keeps feeding you the same thing you keep watching, so stop watching it. It's not helpful. It's not making you a better chiropractor to know that some guy's out there that graduated and is talking shit. We don't need that. If you leave here tonight with no other lesson, don't do it. We have enough critics. We don't need louder ones from within the profession about what we're doing. It doesn't serve the profession. And again, back to the talents. I guarantee you, every one of those chiropractors that talk shit about guys like me that just adjust, I have one in my hometown. He said we shouldn't see children. Well, I shared with you 2 massive success stories. Do you think I'm ever going to stop seeing children? Ever? No. I have seen the most incredible things happen in children. And they don't have a lot of stress. So they're really easy to fix. Okay? I mean, seriously, like super easy. Don't go out and do that. Okay? It's not necessary. If you suck in practice, go do something else in the profession that suits you. You want to do PT? Okay, fine, whatever, right? We have a whole division here for it, don't we? I mean, it was kind of tiny when I was here, but I think it's probably a little bit bigger. There's a time and a place for that. I still refer to physical therapists, but I refer to them because I don't want to do it. I want to adjust. That's it. And that's all I do. I have a muscle stim and a TENS unit, or muscle stim and an ultrasound in my practice. It's 22 years old. It's been used maybe a dozen times. Because I also gained talents and figured out how to do things without those ancillary methodologies. I'm not going to shit talk them. They have their time and their place. I just don't want them. And that's me. And you don't have to be me. But don't talk shit about each other. We don't need any more critics. We don't. And you guys already get it, right? You're in a utopia right now because we all think the same for the most part. Okay? Just do you. Don't talk shit about anybody. You're not going to build patient confidence in you talking smack about the guy down the road. That conversation never ends well. And you look like the asshole. You do. So why do it? Your ego's just that big or that bruised somewhere along the way? Figure it out and find something else to do within the profession that suits your passions and your strengths. Okay? I'm going to leave on my favorite quote, and I'll try not to get choked up before I say it. Dr. Joe Felicia had a huge impact on Ethan's dad and myself and the group of us. And his quote to us was, live for a cause bigger than self and live that cause with passion. That's all I've ever done from the moment I graduated from here. My cause is chiropractic. And I'm probably one of the most passionate people you will ever meet about this profession. I talk about it endlessly with my patients, so much so that I've sent students here because they thought what I had, they wanted. I'm pretty proud of that fact. And I've educated in internships, and I've showed people my whole business, all my books. I can't help you succeed if I'm going to hide parts of what this profession is. I could go through the shit. I'm not going to tell you it's been a cakewalk for 22 years. It hasn't. I got divorced 2 years ago. It cost me $500,000 and almost cost me my practice. There's crap. Ruptured bicep, broken neck. Okay. Adapt, move on. Remove the interference in your life. That's the biggest thing. And my last charge is to guard the flame. And the flame of chiropractic is why you're here and what I want you to guard when you leave. So that you get guys like me, or you are me, passionate about what we do, that you get somebody to go to school and then throw your name in the hat so you get to come talk to the students. This has been a pleasure. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you so much. All right, thank you, Dr. Hanson, once again. All right, you guys have